Welcome back to the Blizzard Reviews. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Today we're checking out a new album from melodic death metal legends, the Black Dahlia Murder, and the new album Servitude, out today, September 7th, 2024, on Metal Blade Records. The Black Dahlia Murder have been a metal band for about over 20 years now and have been an absolute force to be reckoned with across the entire metal community. Formed in 2001 in Waterford, Michigan, the band has been just putting out some of the best melodic death metal the world has ever known. The band rose to succession for their use of just incredible melodic death metal, blending elements of death metal and hardcore, and get that back in the day in their area. There weren't a lot of bands like them. So they were playing with hardcore bands, they were playing with death metal bands, they were playing with thrash bands, and their influence has just been through all their releases. Unfortunately, tragedy struck the band on May 11th of 2022 when founding member and vocalist Trevor Strnad had unfortunately passed away. Later on that year, in October, the band would play a tribute show in Detroit, Michigan, and announcing that Brian would be stepping down from guitar and taking over his vocals, with the returning Ryan Knight coming in as for rhythm guitar. This is the band's 10th studio album overall, and their first without Trevor, so let's go ahead and just get into the review. The first single from the album, Aftermath, immediately just hits us when it was first released with just in-your-face, raw, melodic death metal with catchy hooks and catchy lyrics that really show off the band is just stronger than ever and even more close and tight-knit as a family. Following up from the opening tracks, evening ethereal within its crashing of the waves kind of sound to it, and then going into just visceral death metal, in your face, nonstop. So other songs in there like Curse Creator, which has a really cool metallic hardcore feeling to it, which is very different from the band, but definitely see where that influence can come from that Detroit area. Insert Never Ending Game logo here. Mammoth's Hand is a much more slower and more impending doomy song. That I think is one of the biggest things that this album differently too is I think this might be one of the most well-written Black Dahlia Murder albums, now with 3 guitar players in the band. The guitar players being Brian, Brandon, and Ryan. There we go. Jesus Christ. Now you have the perspective of 3 guitar players, and that you can go and layer these really cool melodies throughout these songs and just on top of each other. This album also really gives a chance for Brian to show off his songwriting abilities, his lyrical abilities, and extend him out more as a vocalist. And this is showing off a lot on one of my favorite songs in the album, Transcosmic Blueprint. I want to talk a little bit about the vocals. I know Brian has a lot to following with Trevor's vocals, being the front man and now the voice of the band, especially for a lot of us who are much more comfortable and more familiar with Trevor's voice with these songs. And I think the sounding that he did to try to emulate that raspiness that we are so familiar with in Trevor's voice, but also with his voice, obviously, but adding a certain type of rawness into it, I really think welcomes us into this new era for the band. But also you hear some of his older style vocals too, the much more deeper guttural stuff sprinkled in there, ever so lightly, that we all love. The only 2 times where I've seen the Black Dahlia Murder live. In 2021 when they were on the Out From the Sewers tour or whatever, I don't know, the Stinky Sewer Smelly tour, put the logo here. Trevor's voice was immaculate. It was precise, it was beautiful, and there was so much energy and passion coming out from it. And then, unfortunately, Trevor had since passed away. And with Brian stepping up to the vocals, but the first time that I saw him live with the band was at the 2023 Metal and Beer Fest in Philly. It was one of their first shows back that was announced. They're going to be going out on this giant tour. And I'll be honest, I personally felt I wasn't ready yet to hear Black Dahlia songs without Trevor when I heard Brian. The show was great. The passion was there. And the crowd was excited for it just because that this band is back that we never thought would really happen again. Hearing Servitude and hearing this album as a whole gives me a lot more closure, I think, when it comes to the passing with Trevor. And knowing that things are going to be okay, giving a lot more comfort and peace of mind in that the band is still healing, but they're strong. and they're more tight knit, and they're ready to kick ass in the world. I definitely think that this album is one of the best constructually written albums of the year, most anticipated albums to be released this year. I definitely think this might be one of the strongest releases from the Black Dahlia Murder within recency. In my pseudo Mount Rushmore, I guess, of albums, Black Dahlia Murder albums, with it being in no order: Servitude, Nocturnal, Ritual, and Everblack. I keep saying welcome into this new era of the band, but it's still all the band members from the band who were in the band previously. I think that a lot of the stuff that you hear in this album, you hear a little influence of Trevor in it. I definitely think that it shows throughout this album just how much everybody has just grown as musicians, using this tragedy as fuel, I guess, to say. Just moving forward and just persevering, putting out an incredibly solid piece of melodic death metal. The world kind of stopped with Trevor passing, and I think the world's ready to continue on and move on with this album. And knowing that Trevor's influence is very well seen throughout this album, throughout the incredible artwork that's just huge and just, I guess, grander, with this giant pit of despair that these ships are sinking into, like an eternal black hole sea abyss. And I think a thing that people realize too is that the Black Dahlia Murder, this band has been around for well over 20 years and has touched on almost every end of the metal spectrum, per se. They can go and play, or have played, Warped Tour festivals, to then going on tours with just death metal icons, to going out on the Mayhem Festival tours, playing VFWs with hardcore bands. And I think the Black Dahlia Murder might be one of the most beloved, more modern bands in extreme metal. The new album from Black Dahlia Murder, Servitude, is out today, September 27th, on Metal Blade Records. So go check that out. And they're going to be going out on tour this fall, doing a co-headliner with Dying Fetus in the Beg to Serve tour. That's going to be with support from Angel Maker, Spite, and Vomit Forth. So get your tickets for that. That's Dummy Stack, so don't miss it. It's probably the biggest death metal show the entire fall. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Let me know down below what you guys think of this album, what some of your favorite songs off of this album. If you have a comment or a Trevor memory, comment it down below. Till the next time, I'll see you guys on the next video. And make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And take care. Bye-bye.